Welcome. Let's start in a seated position, sitting up nice and tall. And you'll take your left arm out to the side, get your fingers to rest on the mat. Drop your head in the opposite direction, so towards the right shoulder. As you do so, just feel a bit of a stretch along the arm, in the neck. We'll be taking our awareness to the breathing pattern and all of that. Soon we're just getting into the neck. Now, you've got the option of moving your head forward slightly. You might find changing the angle could potentially intensify the stretch. If you feel the need to bring the chin closer to chest, do so. Maybe you can even play with the idea of taking the head back slightly. Just feel into your neck. You can bring it back to center, straighten the opposite arm, get it out to the side, bring the head towards the left shoulder. It's a straight arm, fingers resting on the floor. And then to modify the stretch, bring your chin forward slightly. You keep your right shoulder down. If you want to take the head back, go with that option. You can move it around. Any area that feels a bit more tight, you can hold it there for a little while. Just really feeling into your neck, into the shoulder, down the arm. And then slowly bring your head back to center. So let's get the feet out in front. You can take the feet a little bit wider, get the hands slightly behind the shoulders. Push into your feet and simply lift the hips. Just get the hips to not touch the mat. Now shift the hips forwards a little bit, place them back down. Lift in the sternum, so feel a little bit of a stretch in the shoulders. And now we do a bit of internal and external rotation with the hips. You can move your legs around, but keep the chest up. So we're giving the shoulders a bit of a stretch at the same time. Bring it back to center. As you come back to center, lift your hips, push into the feet and hands, position your hips back. Bring the soles of the feet together. Now walk your hands all the way underneath the shoulders. Actively work the knees down. Even if the body's still cold, you can just work your knees down using your leg muscles. Take a full in-breath, get length in your spine. And exhale, lean slightly forwards with your chest and chin. So nothing too intense, just opening up in the hip area, groin area, getting the back muscles to fire a bit by maintaining length. And I'll bring it back to a neutral position. Now grip hold onto the feet. Use your thumbs to open your feet so that you can open in the hips. Take another in-breath, actively work the knees down to the floor still. Just lift in your sternum. We're not turning it into a forward bend. Exhale, you can release, cross your legs, get onto all fours. And you get to an all fours position, spread your fingers, grip the mat, tuck toes, push away from the mat into your downward facing dog. In this down dog, instead of walking it around, if you find that the legs are a little bit stiff or tight, you can keep softness in the knees or a bit of a bend in the knees and just hold that position, very static, or straighten your legs if you have the flexibility, and then simply hold it there. Straight arms, straight back, and the breath is consistent. Inhale, lower your hips into plank, lift your right foot off the mat, and squeeze your right knee into your right armpit. So you pull it up, even if you don't get it all the way up into the armpit, you're thinking in that direction. Step your right foot back, lift your left foot, squeeze left knee into left armpit. Step your foot back, take your hips up, down and facing dog. Be warming up the shoulders a little bit. Inhale, lower your hips into plank. Float your right foot off the mat. Squeeze your right knee to your left armpit. So you're twisting over the midline, pulling in. Both arms straight. Exhale, step the right foot back. And I'll pull left knee to right armpit. Exhale, step it back and take your hips up, downward facing dog. From a down dog, we'll make our way into upward facing dog, keeping toes tucked. So lower hips into plank with an inhale, dip the hips all the way down, close to mat but not to touch. If this is a little bit intense on the back, then you can place your pelvis down and bend into your arms. Keep shoulders away from ears. Exhale, take it all the way back up into a downward facing dog. You've got two options. It's going to be Chaturanga Dandasana when you lower down, or knees, chest, chin. But we'll be pushing back up into a plank from there. So you decide whether you want to keep knees on mat or not. So inhale, lower hips into plank. Exhale into Chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale to plank. Exhale to a downward facing dog. Inhale, hips into plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, down dog. One more. Inhale to plank. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, plank. Exhale, down dog. Slowly bring your forearms down onto the mat, placing the elbows all the way down. As you get into this sort of dolphin shape, push out of your shoulders. Keep subtle engagement in your core and hold this position. Getting the shoulders to warm up, to activate a little bit, even into the upper back. You can straighten your arms back into a downward facing dog position. And then lower the hips on an inhale. Bend into your knees. Now it's a little bit more core. Softness in the knees. Tailbone slightly tilted. Exhale, take it all the way back up into a down dog. Now bend knees, look up. Inhale, position feet in between hands. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, take arms to ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Get your right hand into a fist, thumb over your index finger. We'll start with the right shoulder. You're going to take the arm up, and as you rotate up, you can externally rotate. So turn the fist out, getting the thumb to point out, roll back, and then internal rotation turning in. External rotation at the top, internal rotation coming down. Big circles. Keep your body as still as possible. Just let the shoulder and arm do the work. Now change rotation. Take it in the opposite direction. As you get to the top, you do internal rotation. When you come down, you open up. In at the top, rotating out at the bottom. And bring it down. Opposite arm, hand into fist, thumb over index finger, take the arm forwards, external rotation at the top, internal rotation as you bring the arm past your waist. Just keep moving, rotating. When we do a full rotation like this, it's called circumduction, and obviously the external and internal rotation that we're doing from the shoulder joint. Just keep moving. Once again, we warming up in the upper body, getting into the shoulders, but in turn we're getting into the upper back. Let's change rotation. So now it's the opposite. Internal rotation at the top, external rotation at the bottom. Don't have to overthink it too much. Just want to work into the mobility of the shoulder joint. Just keep the breath constant. You might even find that the one arm has a bit more range of motion. It's always good to pay attention to these subtle differences. You can bring the left arm down. Let the wrists be soft and just shake them out. And let it go. And I'll take both arms up. Get hands back into fists, thumbs over index fingers, slightly flex in the wrists, so knuckles pointing forwards. Lift the shoulders up, start to actively work your arms back, slight tilt in the pelvis, and now we do a few shoulder pumps. So just take the arms back and forth. Keep your back braced, so keep that steady position in the core and the back, and just move your arms back and forth. It's more about pulling back than it is about taking the arms forwards. You'll find that the shoulders might get tired from doing this. Keep going. And then use an exhale to drop the arms back down. Should feel quite nice to bring them down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward bend, head to shins. Inhale, halfway lift, planting your hands on exhale. Take it back into plank and lower down, knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga dandasana. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into down dog. In this down dog position, slide your right hand along that plane, getting the wrist below the elbow. Tuck your elbow. Pull your right knee into your body and take the knee out to the side and pitch it onto your tricep. We won't be lifting the opposite leg. You simply do a bit of bone stacking here and you get more weight onto the tricep so that this right arm creates a bit of a shelf. Keep the left arm straight. Next inhale, raise your right leg, take it up to ceiling. Exhale, bring the right foot down. Place your right hand back into the normal downward facing dog shape. Slide your left hand in, tucking the left elbow. This is the first phase, and then pull your left knee into your chest. Keep the right arm straight, placing knee onto tricep. And I'll take your left leg up to ceiling. Once again, keeping the right arm nice and straight, pushing through both hands. Exhale, bring the left foot down. Take your left hand back. Inhale, raise your right leg. See if there's a way to get onto the left fingertips. From left fingertips, you can potentially lift the hand off the mat. If you feel comfortable, bring your hand between your shoulder blades at the back. Exhale, bring your left hand down, right foot down, normal downward facing dog. And we'll be changing sides. Inhale, raise your left leg. Get onto the fingertips with the right hand. If you are comfortable, get the hand off the mat. Final phase, hand between the shoulder blades. Push out of your left shoulder. Feel the subtle engagement in your core. Exhale, bring the right hand down. Left leg down. Inhale, bring your hips into a plank shape. We'll be working into the shoulders a little bit by tilting or turning the elbows out and then tucking the elbows. Rotating in and out. That same internal and external rotation. Keep moving. Taking your hips back up into a downward facing dog. Bend into knees, look up. Inhale, feet in between hands, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, arms to ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Keep your feet together. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Inhale, lift in the chest. Exhale, forward bend, working your arms over your head. Release hands to mat on inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, exhale, step back or jump back, and lower down chaturanga. In breath, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step right foot in between hands. Inhale, take your arms up. Grip hold of your elbows behind your head. Back leg is straight, front leg at 90. Push your head into your arms to work the elbows slightly further back. Full inhale. Exhale, bring your upper body in line with your back leg. Getting a bit more weight into the front foot, still pushing head into the arms. It's a nice way to strengthen the neck muscles. Exhale, release your hands onto the mat. Step back into plank, lower down chaturanga. In breath, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, raise your left leg. Exhale, position left foot in between hands as you inhale, take both arms up, high lunge. And then bend your arms, find your triceps, sinking nice and low, pushing your head into your arms. We'll turn it into a straight line by bringing the chest forwards on the exhale, keeping length, pushing head into your arms. Exhale, release your hands down to mat, step it back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, step foot in between hands. Now find your balance as you come up, bring your arms out to the sides. And instead of just keeping the arms parallel to the floor, actively pull the palms or the backs of the hands up to ceiling. Getting the shoulder blades a bit closer together. Reach to the back wall, clasp your hands behind your back, work your arms up to ceiling, maintaining this balancing position. Deep inhale. Bend into the knee on exhale, step it back. Pull your arms to the back wall. Chest can come up. Exhale. Release your hands down, step back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg, taking it up to ceiling. Exhale, knee to chest and place foot between hands. Find your balance, come up, arms out to the sides. Backs of the hands pulling up to ceiling. Breath is strong. Focus on one spot. Reach to the back wall. Interlace your fingers. Pull your hands away from your body. Start to bend into the front knee. Reach back. Step into your lunge. As you lift in the chest, you still work your arms away from the back. Exhale, release your hands down. Stepping back plank. Lower down halfway, so in between chaturanga and plank. Now all the way down, relaxing onto the mat. Place your hands below your forehead. Resting cobra. Now, take your arms out in front. Reach forwards. Get the palms to face one another. Start to tilt in the pelvis. So, imagine getting your navel away from the floor. You push your groin down to the floor. The chest will push into the mat as you get your navel away from the floor. See if you can maintain that shape, and at the same time, getting the sides of the hands to not touch the floor. So take your arms up. Breathe. Exhale down. So once again, it's not the easiest movement. The idea is to tilt in the pelvis, to get length in the back, to draw navel up to spine, and maintaining that contraction while at the same time lifting the arms. So let's do a second one. Think about squeezing in the glutes. It could assist quite a bit with this movement. So tilt, lengthening in the lower back, navel to spine, chest pushing in, lift. Exhale, bring it back down. Place your hands below the shoulders. Pull the shoulders away from ears. Squeeze elbows into the body. Now, without using your hand strength or arm strength all too much, lift your chest a little bit. Feel that the back muscles are working. Hands can be light on the mat. Now, interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze palms together. Roll the shoulders back. Use the next inhale to lift a little bit higher. In this case, arms can be quite close to the body. Keep the breath deep. Push your pelvis down. Legs are straight. Exhale. Bring your hands down and pushing back into a comfortable child's pose. Slowly coming up and making your way into a seated position. As you do so, sitting in this nice upright position, take your right arm up, left arm behind your back. You walk your left fingers towards your neck, bend the top arm, find your hand. If you struggle to bind, use a towel or a strap. And if you don't have something like that close at hand, just at least reach in this direction, even if you don't manage to bind. Exhale, release. We'll do the opposite side. So if you struggle to get an arm behind the back, you can always use your opposite hand to assist before taking your arm up and binding. So you have that option, just to work the hands a little bit closer together, staying in this upright position, and hold. Elbow pointing up. Exhale, release. As you bring the arms back down, one little spinal twist. So get your left leg bent with the heel just to the outside of your left glute. As for the opposite leg, you get it into this full lotus-like shape with the heel close to the groin. If it's too difficult, slide your foot forwards. Place firstly we would like to bind, now only if it's possible. So if you can manage to find your toes, well, at least the big toe, do so. If not, then don't. But the idea is to place the left fingers underneath the right knee with the wrist pointing away from the body. So if you can't bind, get into a modified shape, but still do the spinal twist. If you manage to bind, go with that option. So you work with your body's limit. And breath is nice and deep, spine is straight. This in itself is a nice shoulder stretch. It should be about 5 inhales and exhales. You can release, getting out of this one. Straighten the right leg, straighten the left, shake it out, changing sides. So we've got the right leg bent, you bring the left foot up, once again going for the bind. If you can't bind, don't bind and just do a modified shape. Deep inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. Giving you a modified option on this side. Bringing your gaze back to center. Release your bind if you did a bind. And get out of the posture. Straighten both legs. Shake it out. And slowly make your way down onto the floor. As you get onto the mat, our universal spinal twist, you can first bring knees into your chest. We'll do both legs at the same time. Then bring your arms out to the side. Drop your knees over to the right. Gaze to the left. Inhale to bring your legs back to center. Exhale, dropping the knees over to the left, gaze to the right. Inhale, bring your knees back to center. Hug knees into your chest. Gently moving from side to side. And then you can straighten your legs as you release, getting into your corpse pose. So in this final posture, allow the body to be completely relaxed. We're giving the body some time to relax back or to cool down to its natural state. So close your eyes, allow the breath to be natural, and stay here for as long as you want.